college dropout turned scientist, Tesla was responsible for over 300 patents involving X-ray machinery, AC current, radio wave technology, wireless power transmission. This guy spoke like 8 languages as well, had this photographic memory, and yet died broke and alone on January 7th, 1943. One of his most famous quotes, however, that gave us some insight into how his brain functioned was, "When I get an idea, I start at once building it up in my imagination. I choose the construction, make improvements, and operate the device entirely in my mind. Peace can only come as a natural consequence of universal enlightenment and merging of races, and we are still far from this blissful realization." He also stated that if you want to understand the keys of the universe, you have to think in terms of frequency, vibration, and energy. Looking back on Tesla's life, the thing that I admire about him the most wasn't his intelligent mind, it was his sheer dedication to the craft. Because the reality is that he wasn't a businessman like Westinghouse or his rival Edison, who was just corrupt by greed. Now, imagine though if he wanted to become a boxer or he wanted to become an actor. Would he have achieved what he did achieve? Would he have accomplished these great feats in technology? That's highly unlikely. So going off this point here, I don't believe that it is a lack of ideas that hinders our outputs as much as it is our lack of focus. Right? It's like our attention is always being drawn in too many directions. So what I've got here is the fallacy of diversification. This is just a completely bogus term that I made up, but I believe that the principle is still true. So what this means is that the amount of time and energy that you spend on your projects, it's making a mistake that the output will equal the input. So I've got 5 projects here. So for example, let's say I want to divide up 5 hours across 5 projects. So in an optimistic sort of approach, you might think, well, okay, if I spend an hour on project 1, it'll reap me this result as the output. Project 2, 1 hour, it'll reap me this result as the output. And so on and so forth, right? Well, the reality of this is that none of this is going to happen, right? This is very idealistic thinking. All of these things are basically going to end up being half-assed. You're not really going to have any sort of productive work come forth out of just an hour into these topics, right? So what this is really going to look like here is something more like this. So the challenge for you is you have to decide out of these 5, 10 different things, which one of them is the most important to you. Maybe it's the one that makes you the most money. Maybe it allows you to be your most creative self. So you have to pick 1, maybe 2 at the most of these different things that you're trying to do, and then that's when you can see that growth. So many people get into this mindset of what's called shiny object syndrome, where they chase one thing, they don't see the results right away, and so they chase another thing, and then it's just an endless cycle. And this is what keeps people just unsatisfied with their life, because their growth is just horrible, right? Become a master in one thing, become an expert in one thing, and then you can move on to the next vertical in whatever way that looks like. The idea here is if you want to become an expert, you have to go all in on that one thing. Charles Bukowski, this is like a poet that you guys hear me talk a lot on this channel. He has a quote that says, "I am not like an ordinary world. I have my madness. I have no time for things which have no soul." Bertolt Brecht once said, "Art is never without consequences. When someone surrenders themselves and drowns in their passion, the line between sanity and insanity becomes blurred." Nobody really talks about this dark side of just getting so immersed in your passion. This idea of what you love, letting it kill you, right? It means that you're married to it through the highs and the lows. Becoming obsessed doesn't mean just finding your passion, it means surrendering to it. Most of your successes don't come from this like grandiose vision. It usually comes out of insecurity. Not insecurity in the sense that I'm awkward, that I'm not enough, but from knowing that you're different, right? From knowing that you're made for more, which is often accompanied by these feelings of lack and inadequacy, that you're not doing enough, which only seem to go away when pursuing your ambitions. There's a lot of self-help gurus out there that profit off of these types of people. It's like they if you have an overreactive mind, if you have sporadic ideas, if your mind can't focus, if you're constantly thinking about something else, people like to diagnose that as ADHD, you got traumas, you can't focus, all these things, when in reality, we need to be teaching people not how to calm their minds, but how to properly get it to work. These aren't the like hallmark traits of somebody that has like mental illness. This is your soul. These are the nudges of your soul beckoning you to do something, right? To create. And sometimes taking action can be difficult, right? It's like there is a mental taxation that comes with the endless repetitions, the hours in the library or at home working towards something, editing, whatever it is that you feel called to do. It's like there's a cost that you must pay, and that's okay. This sure beats the hell out of the alternative, which is to do nothing, staying the same. For some people, the only way that they can get their mind to rest is through their work. And honestly, man, if that's you, like, consider it a gift. So here's a little brain hack that you guys can use next time you are just berated with your own self-doubt, feelings of inadequacy, that you're not doing enough. Imagine that you're this little sheep, right? Maybe the sheep has a name. His name's Jeremiah, okay? So Jeremiah, this is you, is up in the mountains, right? And there's all this self-doubt represented by this shepherd. So, and the shepherd is trying to guide you back to the pasture because you're off over here in the mountains. The pasture represents your craft, that deep inner conviction of the thing that you know that you should be doing, that you've always dreamed about, but you never really started. You know, it's like that goal, right? Those dormant goals that you have. So instead of viewing these voices as bad, let them serve as reminders to work on your craft, to work on that one thing that you know that you should be doing. So anyways, guys, that's kind of a way to like reverse the effects of like what feels bad and use it for good. So that is all I got. I hope this video helps you guys. Thanks again so much for watching. Feel free to reach out should you have questions, and we'll see you guys in the next video.